It's Wake Up Worlds Groups Day 1. A victory for EU as TSM falls to Fnatic. LCK teams dominate the competition. Is South Korea back on top? Who's our favorite to win it all? And which Worlds team is the imposter?
By Ultimate on the side of Rogue, so there it is.
Flash in for three, how about the re-engage? Already a 1-for-0 Shockwave not to be found. A double kill for Finn, and he heard you talking smack. Larson grabs the kill over the top, and Rogue is already 5-0.
Mark manages to find his man. Throwing Shadow goes down. The Dragon is picked up by LGD. That's the third, but can they win the follow-up fight? Life with a gigantic shield. Stays alive long enough to run away. Genji are destroying LGD. The double AD carries are not under enough threat.
Oh, Xie!
Blown up. BDD killed by the high skill button. Defends to flash away from Xie as Langxing has to run for his life.
Your teleport comes in from behind. They still want kills.
Here comes
Double teleport.
Manages to jump into the air and jump
Nemesis
on TSM.
Day 7 of the World Championship is in the books, and we're here to break it all down. It's Wake Up Worlds. Welcome one, welcome all to Wake Up Worlds, our ESPN Esports League of Legends World Championship program. Arda and Tyler here with you every step of the way, whether you are watching every single second of Worlds or you want an hour or less to just keep up on everything that's happening. Thank you for joining us here on our show. We will be with you all the way until a brand new League of Legends World Champion is crowned. We are exclusive to YouTube today. We wanted to avoid the red screen of death, and that's a good thing, Tyler, because NA did a lot of dying today.
I don't know if I'm going to make it to the 31st, Arda. I don't know if I'm going to make it to Halloween finals. It's been day 1 of groups, and I'm already tattered. My soul has been ripped apart. First game of the day made me very frustrated, a bit angry, made me want to tear my hair out, malding a bit. Then I had a few games of I can relax, subdue, think of the future, TSM, Team Liquid. Then we end the day on Team Liquid versus Fnatic. From the level 1 to just we're gonna get into it, but I'm a mess. I'm so frustrated, sad, worried, confused. And it's playing stage. I was an optimistic, Ollie. I was an optimistic guy, very happy, 10 out of 10s, and he's gonna do great. And then first day of Worlds,
don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. We'll get to that in a little bit.
It's going to be a long 8 days of groups, Arda.
Later on in the show, Tyler will give us the exact number where his optimism is for North America. But based on the lighting in his room right now, I think you have an idea of where that might be. Let's start with TSM. Let's talk about their matchup against Fnatic. Listen, it was exciting to watch for a neutral observer, I'm sure. It looked competitive at times. TSM had the lead in this matchup, but then it went awry and Fnatic got the victory. What did you take away from this match, Tyler?
I don't know if they ever had the lead, maybe in gold for a few seconds. Maybe they had a bit of a momentum lead at one point after Broken Blade did that amazing 2v1 in the top lane where he pulled it off versus Bwipo, Evelyn himself, where pulled out what should have been a certain death, even snowballing the Eve's lead even farther than it already was. But he pulled it off. TSM got a bit of momentum back. We're able to stabilize, get him out to Drake, make that a win condition. But it all just fell apart from level 1, man. From the start of the game, where they got too cute. They tried to trick out Fnatic, tried to mind game Fnatic, then went down to the red where they were waiting for them. Syndra, Bjergsen goes to mid, isn't in the fight. They get caught out, they die. Just little mistakes. It was just little mistakes by TSM where overall, I don't think they played a bad game. I don't think they played embarrassing. I don't think they made NA look silly. I think they represented NA proud as the #1 seed for 95% of the game. But there was individual moments where, like, yes, Bjergsen looked amazing in lane on the Syndra versus Nemesis Lucian. They gave Nemesis one of his comfort champions, one of his few comfort champions. Bjergsen on Syndra still was clutch, getting TSM back in the game after that horrid level 1 by roaming up top, getting Broken Blade back into the game. He won the lane. He looked very locked in at the beginning, and it looked individually like bomb lane outside of Biofrost kind of, inching a bit, giving up another free kill in the early game. They stabilized, and Spica wasn't very effective, where it seemed like individually everything went well. They had 1 or 2 good skirmishes, but overall Fnatic was just the far better team. They played a nearly perfect game in my point of view. From that Baron rush, which was absolutely brilliant, and I applaud them for that, where that opened up the game so much, where the game was a 1K goal lead with 1K goal lead to Fnatic. Mountain Drake was still on the side of TSM. They could still play for the Mountain Drake. I think they had a better 5v5 team fight. The Camille was getting stronger and bigger. Fnatic had to make a move, and they did that. They didn't hesitate. They knew they had the vision. They had been clearing it out due to Selfmade's Evelyn play, which was so far better than Spica's in Italy. No offense to Spica, it was his first real major international game, but so was for Selfmade, and Selfmade did not look like a rookie up there. It was a factor of Fnatic playing better together as a team, and just Selfmade's Evelyn just running over the jungle. They had no answers for him. By the end of the game, he was flashing over walls, just executing double lift on a dime. There was nothing they could do to just kind of stop them. Broken Blade had a few good moments where he was trying to split push, put the pressure on. I thought he had a really good game. And Bjergsen he was so good in lane. He had that one gang up top, but after that, he was pretty, quiet. And I think Fnatic did a good job of not really falling into any traps of TSM. They didn't fall into any straight up 5v5s. They were always flanking. They always had their wards up. They were always clearing vision. It was just an all in all Fnatic playing better as a TSM. TSM didn't look horrid, but for them to get out of this group, this was a big victory they had to grab. And now they're looking up, and they have to go into game tomorrow versus Gen G, where that's a game now that is almost a must win, where in this so ever competitive group, going down 0-2 is not something to get if they have any chance of getting out of this.
It looked like Fnatic was calmer, or just more having more fun in this game. Like I saw you tweet it too. Like Bjergsen was super dialed in the entire game. Like he looked very focused, and he was all over the map helping out his teammates on his trademark Syndra. But like Bwipo is a great example, right? Like he was laughing, he was having a great time. He was flashing a thumbs up to the camera after the win, and even like laughing in the game where he was like clapping when he got away from a death situation. Like it just felt like Fnatic was more light, or didn't feel that pressure, or didn't show that than TSM did. TSM were largely emotionless, but Fnatic just seemed to be having more fun in that game.
It's a lot easier to have fun in the game when your Evelyn is properly stocked with gold. You guys are taking map vision across the jungle. Like by the end, like through like 2/3 of the game, TSM were being choked out. Like there was one point where Bjergsen had to back into his own base because the entire team was too afraid of where they could be flanking from. Hillsong's Rakan, which didn't really stand out, was still a pressure point, caused paranoia along with the Evelyn. Just an exquisite job by Fnatic in terms of vision control, and just kind of making the paranoia of not knowing where the Evelyn is at all times, kind of just kind of pushing TSM back and never letting them get a foothold in the game after the Baron rush, where the game was so close. It was on a knife's edge at that Baron rush, where you could even say TSM could have the advantage in the late game, especially with a fed Camille, a 4-item Camille. But Fnatic pushed the go button, weren't afraid, and TSM were too late on the move. And a lot of that comes down to jungle diff. Tyler One will say it best: jungle diff, jungle diff, jungle diff. And in this matchup, it was a hard jungle diff between Spica and Selfmade. Selfmade looked like a world-class top 5 jungler in the world. Spica looked like a rookie. And it's not all down to Spica. The level 1 was not entirely his fault. You have to put that on the entire team for how poorly that was played. But when you get a pick like Nidalee versus Evelynn, it's going to be a battle of see who can be relevant and who can take over the jungle. And we saw in previous games today where we had Canyon and Piosik run the jungle, run Summoner's Lift on Nidalee. And then you just compare that to how Spica played it and how TSM was able to enable him. It was those two, like the Piosik Nidalee and the Spica Nidalee, they could be entirely two different champions if you were a newcomer.
Yeah, it reminds me of Lilia and how that was played through the play-ins. There's a right way to play Lilia and a wrong way to play Lilia. What about Double Lift on Senna? So we know Double Lift's long and storied history with Senna all year. Not so great in spring, a little bit better in the summer, great in the playoffs in the LCS. Do you think we will see this more? Do you think that, or just more generally, what did you think of Double Lift's performance in Game 1?
That's fine. Like, I think most of the blame has to go down to TSM as a team itself. They got outplayed as a really the individual performances outside of self-made versus Pika, and that could even be attributed to the team's overall level 1 strategies. It was pretty minute. You had a few good, single plays by Bwipo, a few single good plays by, Broken Blade, but for the most part, it was really a team victory. And in this current meta, a lot of these utility AD carries are the norm, or you have a lot of fast pushing AD carries like Ashe. So for the most part, we will most likely see a double lift on the Senna or the Ashe, the Jhin. It really isn't a point of power position where it's much more about just kind of gaining dragon control by pushing really fast. Right now, the power positions are the mid and jungle or top lane as well. Top lane can be, it can either be just an island where you put Volibear and Ornn up there and just wait for the fight, kind of the skirmishes, or you can put the Camille up there like TSM tried to do by trying to make that a condition, and it almost did. And if that Fnatic Baron rush didn't happen, or if they were set up more properly, or they could have stopped it or done something to negate that, there's a very good chance that the Camille would have just gone out of control and Broken Blade could have won the game by himself. But Fnatic were the better team. As a North American fan, that hurts, pangs me in the bottom of my heart. But if on overall sense, you just have to tip your hat to Fnatic. They had a brilliant first day. And it's weird for Fnatic fans because Fnatic fans are usually going into week 2, 1 or 2, or starting off on a big loss. But this is one of the first real worlds where they're coming off on a big win, and they're gonna have a lot of confidence going into tomorrow's match versus LGD Gaming, which they should be heavily favored. So there's a good chance that Fnatic might get out of this 3-0 or 2-1.
I don't want to spend too much time on this, but this is a good transition into our next topic as well. We saw a lot of early ganks, and it seems like that is going to be a pattern, perhaps the meta moving forward. Just talk to us about, even through all the games, how you saw the early game progressing in day 1.
Well, the play-in meta was essentially scale to soul, which means just fight until there's a soul up, and then you just do a 5-on-5 team fight. Lots of wombo combo strategies, throwing the Hecarim, Shens, try to, layers on one another, win those types of fights, where we are now seeing a much more quickened pace, where before you could wait 35 minutes until the game really reaches crescendo. And outside of the LGD Gen G game, all these other games were pushed or forced into a much quicker. And it came from the junglers, early invades. Even look at Rogue, which did a bottom lane gank level 1, where they threw their AD carry and support into the mid lane and just snowballed from there. It's very much a snowball meta where teams are snowballing, getting their junglers ahead, getting Rift Herald, and using that Rift Herald to grab plate, start, quickening the pace, and just never letting the tempo break down. And we've seen teams like, I think Gambling was a perfect example, where it was just a wave, an avalanche of a snowball effect, where the greatest teams, the really good, the world-class, are going to take these early game picks, like the Evelynn, like the Nidalee, even like the Lily or the Graves, and they are going to make it a very quick game, where if those jungle champions get ahead and can snowball the lanes they want to, we're not gonna reach the soul fight. It's going to end around 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the latest. So throw out everything you watched in the playing stage. It's a whole new ball game. These teams are a lot better. and the pace has quickened, and which is why we saw 4 of the 6 games today be just one-sided stomps.
Yeah, and a couple of those one-sided stomps involved South Korean teams. If NA didn't have the best day, South Korea certainly did. Damwon Gaming, speaking of stomps, absolutely obliterated JD Gaming. Gen G, in a nice back-and-forth affair, defeated LGD, and DRX soundly defeated Unicorns of Love. We'll get to my boy Piosik in a second here. But just overall, Tyler, talking about South Korea and their impressive day one, what did you take away the most from that?
Damwon is the best team at Worlds. I think that at their highest level, I don't think there's any team at World Championships, maybe except Top and maybe a peak G2 that can come close to them. They're just too good. In this meta, with these champions on the table, with how much agency you can give Canyon with the Nidalee or the Grey or the Lilia or the Lee Sin, every champion that Canyon can make his own and snowball the top lane, or it's such a perfectly set up meta for M1. You can have Showmaker on a stable roaming mid. You put Niguri on one of his lovely carries, split push. Barrel's gonna be roaming the map on champions like Pantheon and Leona, causing havoc. And Ghost is as stable as they come. You can put him on Jin, you can put him on Ashe, and he can just sit down in the bottom lane all day long, farm up, get his items, and just join the mayhem when it comes. And just watching Damwon destroy JDG, and they destroyed them. This was maybe the most impactful first game we've seen from any Worlds team ever, in my opinion. I can't remember. I don't believe Samsung White or SKT 2015 had this big of a blowout versus this good of a team as their first game. It really was a statement from Damwon. When I call them the personification of brutality. They are a team that just comes in waves after wave after wave after wave, and it's just all out aggression. And it's not just dumb aggression. They've become smart about it too, and they don't just go for silly fights. And even when they do go for silly fights, they can win them because they're so mechanically better than everyone else. And I just give so many kudos to Beryl, who just seems to be everywhere on the map. Anytime a team feels like they're safe or have a 2v2 or a 3v3, Beryl's always there with Canyon to make it a 4v3, a 2v3. He's such an in-tune support player, where I think after today's games, you can't say there's any better support right now at Worlds than he was excellent. They're just a wave of pressure, and just how good they are mechanically from 1 to 5. Their drafts are smart. They play so well together. Their team fighting is up there as one of the best in the world mechanically. When it comes to skirmishes, I think they're the best in the world. Individually, when it comes to laning talent, just pure one-on-one lanes, 2v2 lanes, they're one of the best or the best in the world. They are just all around a juggernaut. And you can say very similar things about Top Esports, but JD Gaming gave Top Esports a fight for their life in the spring and summer finals. You know, even losing in the spring finals to JD Gaming. JD Gaming had nothing for Damwon. And a lot of it has to do with them giving the comfort picks of Camille, TF, and Nidalee over. When I saw those 3 champions locked in one, I pretty much said GG, go next. No way you're winning. But what a performance. And if I take one thing away from South Korea's day one, is that Damwon are scary. And we've had scary South Korean teams before. We've had Samsung White and SKT, but those are counterattack. Those are counter-punching. Those are, I am going to play slow, choke you out. We might be down 3K gold, but if you make one slip-up, we're going to turn it against you. This team just overwhelms you. They pressure you until you break down fundamentally and mentally. From your technical skill to your brain, they just wear you down nonstop. You can't breathe from level 1 to level 18. You can even get close to level.
So Damwon Gaming defeat JD, and a lot of people had those two teams advancing out of this Group B. So the fact that Damwon defeated them so soundly and so decisively really sets the tone, like you said, for Damwon to cement themselves as one of the favorites in the tournament. And of course, the favorite for many people coming into this tournament resides in Group D, and that's Top Esports. They faced FlyQuest today, so that was a matchup that many people expected Top Esports to win, obviously, and they did so. But there has to be some positives here. FlyQuest did not look lost in this game. It didn't, like, yes, they were outmatched, but it didn't look like they were completely out of their sorts the entire game. Like, there were some positives to take out of this.
Yeah, I mean, and going into today, I said the game plan for FlyQuest is weather the storm. Weather the first 10 to 15 minutes, lose gracefully if need be, stay around 1K, 2K gold deficit, and get into your bread and butter. Unlock Ignore, have them roam around the map, fight for Herald, just stay close enough to get to your bread and butter of your team fighting. You are not a single lane team. You are not a lane kingdom squad. Even if you get, picks that should win in lane, even against a team like Top Esports, where you have Jackie Love, 6ix9ine, and Knight, it's a very hard opportunity to take advantage of those mismatches, even if you get them. So for my idea was, it's a 95-5, 90%, 10% chance if FlyQuest comes in and tries to fight them and gun with them. If they try to get into the mid game, relatively even, team fight, play around objectives, let Ignore beat Ignore, roam around the map, try to get picks, 2v1 opportunities, 4v1 dives, then it gets to like a 75%, 25, maybe a 70-30. And I thought they played the first few levels of this game really well, and it felt like FlyQuest had momentum. Wild Terminal almost got a lane kill against Jackie Love, and it was stupendous. Ignore started roaming, and they put pressure on Knight. Everything was going well for FlyQuest until Solo decided to take a level 3 versus level 4. A level 3 versus level 4 Volibear versus Camille fight, where he blows his flash and he dies.
Yeah.
And then he comes back into lane. And then you know what happens because he blew his flash. Karsa, who is one of the smartest players in the world, one of the most experienced players ever, he reganks the lane, and Volibear pushes a little bit too up. Solo pushes a little bit too up, and he gets reganked and he dies again. That lane's over. Topside pressure is done. They can't contest Herald. Everything just falls apart. And then that 2K gold lead that they give up because of the top lane blunders just kind of snowballs, as we saw all day. When a really good team has a gold lead and the Herald, they can snowball quickly. And that's just what Top did. Santorin didn't have the best game on Lilia, was ineffective on the champion, as a lot of players have been at this World Championship. And by the 20th minute, it was a 10K goal lead. And even though FlyQuest got a few good team fights off, where Solo did have a bit of a redemption, he had a few good team fights, and his laning might not be the best, but he's a good team fighter. All of FlyQuest know how to team fight. They're a good team fighting squad, but it just wasn't enough. You're way too down. Even if you pop the Akali with PoE Syndra, it just wasn't enough. They were too far gone. It was just inevitable loss by them. It was frustrating. It was frustrating that FlyQuest knew that they couldn't go toe-to-toe with Top Esports in laning. If they could just survive until the mid game, just survive to the 10 to 15 mark to do a 5v5, to have that, just to try to win a Herald fight or a Drake fight, but they let it go. The level 3 Volibear versus level 4 fight going just sour the entire game. So Top Esports, very good, knew what to do. Knight is amazing as advertised. He is a nut on the Akali. Karsa, smart as ever, but it was a lot of small mistakes, or not small mistakes, big mistakes by Solo and the rest of FlyQuest to kind of just bleed out. And then by the time they could have any sort of proper team fight, the game was far too gone to have.
Yeah, Solo's had a lot of attention on him, definitely from pundits around the League of Legends community, singling him out, pardon the pun. for what could be the weak link of FlyQuest, and we'll have to wait and see in future matchups how that will manifest. You mentioned percentages. 83% of players in our ESPN League of Legends predictor said top esports would win Group D. Don't forget, you can join us. Play League of Legends Predictor at espn.com/League of Legends Predictor. It is free to play. Invite your friends. You can make a custom group. You can put all of you, you and your friends together in a group, chirp each other, check for points. It's a lot of fun, and the group stage has begun now. You can pick every step of the way once they open up through playoffs and the final as well. I am currently sitting very, very low at 3,180th, Tyler.
I'm
Not
103. I'm in the top.
No way. Look at you.
But I picked TSM to win the group, so I am screwed.
Uh-oh.
I went a bit too fanboy, Arda, and now I'm in trouble.
Who did I pick to win that group? I don't think I picked. No, I picked Gen G to win that group.
You picked the smart option. I picked the option that is only going to bring me pain.
Sadness. Complete sadness.
Utter pain.
Yeah. Well, speaking of fanboys, remember back in May when we did a League of Legends mid-season cup draft, and I picked Piosik at the jungle,
and laughed at you.
You guys laughed at me so hard, rightfully so. Fair enough. There were lots of yes. So at the time, definitely a silly pick from me, and I definitely paid for it. But now we fast forward a couple months, and now we have the first game at Worlds and Piosik's performance, and now we're like, well, I'm sitting pretty now. My pick looks great now. Which brings us, Tyler, and I'm going to relish this, okay? I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to bask in this glow. Please, Tyler, regale us. Tell us, who is our ESPN Esports Player of the Day?
Our Player of the Day is DRX Piosik. And I will be the first to say I doubted Piosik. I made a very public tweet about how I thought DRX were quite overrated. I thought Dorn is a so-so top laner at best, and that Piosik he's not that great of a player. I obviously value Chovy to the highest extent. I think he's one of the best. And I think their bottom lane, along with Deft and Korea, is one of the best as well in the world when they're both form injury free. Piosik, though, as Ashley Kong, our friend, often colleague, pointed out on Twitter, this is the best meta possible for Piosik. Kindred, his Lilia, his Nidalee, his Graves, every single champion that he excels on is one of the flavor picks. Is one a pick he's going to get every single game, unless a team just goes crazy and tries to ban him out. But when you have Chovy in the lineup, Kyria and Deft, that's not going to happen more than likely. He played one of the best Nidalee games of all time at Worlds. He was gung-ho from the start, and it's what you would want. Like when you watch the TSM speaking game, and I hate going back to the top of the show, Fnatic versus TSM, but it's like when the kids ask for Nidalee and they give you the TSM Nidalee, what they really want was the Piosik Nidalee that is just all over the map. Taking, counter jungling, taking camps, pressuring each lane, moving across the jungle like the ferocious hunter she is. And that's what Piosik was, where every time there was a second of doubt or a second to breathe for the Unicorns of Love. How the Unicorns of Love did in the play-in stage, Nidalee and Piosik was there to stop them and to make a 1v1 situation, 2v1 or a 2v2. He was just He was a marvel. He was a marvel, Arda, and you should be very proud of your boy. He played one of the best. No, I'll say his best game of his career. This is World Championship. He's a rookie. A lot of pressure on him. And after the game, DRX Twitter started mouthing me on Twitter and making fun of me for not believing. And I had to.
We saw the response. Yes, we definitely saw them respond.
I had to kneel to the DRX Twitter for. I was wrong to doubt Lord Piosik of the Nidalee and Lilia fame. He's one of the best Lilias too in the tournament. So this is the meta for him, and DRX has a very high ceiling. So I don't know if DRX can do what they did versus Unicorns of Love against a team like Top or Damwon. We saw how that went in the LCK finals when DRX tried to out Damwon. They kind of just got bopped because Damwon is just an overall better team with better players in most of the positions. But against the Unicorns of Loves and the FlyQuest of the world, they should probably pick up these W's. And if they can get those W's against the weaker teams, they're going to the quarterfinals. And then you have Chovy, maybe an informed Deft, Akira, who can play any champion in the book, and Piosik on his, on his best champions. And you can stick Doran and Ornn or Volleyball Dirty. Like, this team could be the dark horse of, to make a run to their finals. Like, they're a very dangerous team who can play in the style and the meta.
TSM fans were asking, hey, we want that Nidalee, and TSM responded, we have Nidalee at home.
Yeah. And you got Speakers Nidalee, and they wanted...
Piosik went 13-1-6 on Nidalee today. Piosik had more kills than all of TSM, Fnatic, PSG Talon, JD Gaming, FlyQuest, and Unicorns of Love in day one of Worlds groups. That brings us to our next segment, which is called Who's the Impostor? If you've been watching the show since play-ins, you are familiar with this segment. This is where we pick 5 teams after day one. Maybe a little bit too early, but really it's never too early to prognosticate and to opine. And so here we are. We're going to look at 5 teams after day one, Tyler, and you will tell us whether they are a contender or they are the imposter.
Are they done? Are they done? Are they out of the bubble? Are they imposter? Is their run already over after day one?
Team number 1, TSM.
Oh, really? You have to start with... Oh, come on.
I'm putting you on the hot seat right away.
All right. So TSM's chances of advancing from the group has drastically gone down after losing to Fnatic. Good news is, I don't think they're outclassed by Fnatic. I think they're very close in skill. As we saw today, very close game, just some better team differences and better decision-making by Fnatic. I think individually, they stack up quite well. I think there's positions, if you can push Nemesis on more uncomfortable champions where Bjergsen can get a solo lane kill, or they can put more pressure on the mid lane and win through that win condition than trying to win through broken Flippo, which is a much tougher task. So, yes, I'm disappointed. Yes, I'm a bit saddened about today's game. I think TSM made some crucial mistakes in a winnable game and lost versus a very well-planned, well-strategized Fnatic squad. But they're not the imposter. I still think they have a chance to make it out. I don't think Gen.G or LGD outclassed them severely either. I think Gen.G, while they looked good today, that game was also a bit of a fiesta. I actually think that the Fnatic and TSM game was better played, just from a vision perspective, and just an overall game plan from both teams. I think that game was a bit more cleaner, where LGD versus Gen.G was kind of what you would expect from 2 teams just kind of firing big shots at each other back and forth, and a lot of just like hoping to win a team fight, to win a Baron, or to win a Soul, to kind of just tip the scales. So TSM, I think it's a lot less likely that we could have groups, but it's day one. There's still 5 more games. They're not the imposter. They're good. They're all right.
I feel like every other player in the game would want to vote TSM out very fast. Like, they want to, whether they believe it or not, they want to believe TSM is the imposter, or label them the imposter, just to get them out of there as fast as possible, for sure.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Just keep them out. It's like XQC in his lobby. It's like they just want to kick out the most popular player and just laugh at them and see them rage and see all the NA fanboys maul. So yeah, I think there's a big fan contingent outside of North America, even some inside North America, that want to see TSM fail, but they haven't fallen yet. They didn't look like they're out of place against Fnatic. So let's just take a game by game. Like 2 days from now, we might be kicking them out of the bubble, but for now, we can just say, do better versus Gen.G. Better. You need to win versus Gen.G or LGD, or you're kind of...
Yeah, easier said than done, I think.
Yes.
This is a tough one. The next team we're going to talk about, I think this is going to be very difficult. PSG Talon.
Yeah, they're done. Imposter. Kick them out. Vote them out. That's instant click. I don't even want to hear what they say. They're done. They're done.
I should have quantified. I think I mean tough in terms of their story, because they were they seemed so much better in play-ins than they do in groups, right?
It hurts, but they're done. Like, when you are in a group of JD Gaming and Damwon, and Rogue is a very good team, but you get blown out by Rogue in that manner, that destroyed, that dissected, where it felt like they had no clue what they were doing. I believe they had 0 kills in that game.
16-0.
Yeah, it was a whitewash. It was there was nothing they could do, and now they have to play JD Gaming, a pissed off JD Gaming tomorrow, and then they have Damwon Gaming. And no offense to PSG, but unless a miracle happens, and not just a mini miracle, a major miracle happens, they're not being Damwon. And maybe JD Gaming just turns out like they are, frauds, and they just are really bad, and they just can't read current meta. I don't really think that'll happen. I just think they're technically good. Kanavi's too good to kind of fall back in this jungler-centric meta. So PSG, they needed a win versus Rogue. They nearly looked decent versus Rogue. They had to look like TSM, right? Where if PSG lost in the TSM fashion, you could just talk yourself into maybe they could steal a win versus JDG. Maybe they could beat, Rogue the next time they play. But they got decimated by the consensus third best team in the group. And with River and Tank looked nowhere near the skill level of Uniboy and Kongwei, so kick them out, throw them out of the bubble. You're the imposter. Sorry, PSG Talon. We were looking for the other PSG. You are the fake one. We want the Uniboy and Kongwei PSG. That's the PSG we really want. You're the imposter.
The funny thing is that people are literally calling them the imposter team. Like they're not the imposter team, they're the actual team, but they prefer the imposter team. It's almost like they want the, what I mean? It's like, no, give us the planes. Whoa, what happened with those visas again? No, you know what? They expired somehow. Oh my God, you got to come back, D. You got to come back, Uniboy and Conway.
Yeah.
Poor PSG Town. Still a fantastic story, though, in all seriousness. Just a very unfortunate circumstance, and off to a very, very bad start. Rogue going deathless against PSG in game number 1. How about Unicorns of Love?
Oh, this is tough. This is a tough. So they got decimated and just kind of broken down by DRX, who should be second best in that. They still have top Esports, who is, along with Damwon Gaming, the odds-on favorite. And they have FlyQuest still, who we saw today has a bit of life in a team fighting, in a 5v5 straight up, which Unicorns of Love also love to do. Unicorns of Love might not be the better team. So I'm leaning towards Impostor, but it's only been one game. PSG I can throw out just because JD Gaming and Damwon are both waiting. Got destroyed by the third best team in the group, or believed to be third best team in the group. So I think it's a we're gonna see. We're gonna give you one more round, Unicorns of Love. But if you we find another dead body next year, we're kicking your butt out of the show. Like, you have one round to kind of prove yourself to be a crewmate, or you're an imposter and we're throwing you. We're not throwing you. We are jettisoning you outside space.
All right. It's going to be a tough one. We'll see if they're going to be able to rebound after this matchup. I think they were, but in many people's eyes, slated to lose this one, at least in day one. But let's see. Let's see if the Cinderella run can continue, because if not, PSG Talon, based on what we saw in day one, Unicorns of Love essentially become the Cinderella team, especially in the way that they made groups. JD Gaming.
Man, is this a real one, Arda? Like, I mean, are they an imposter to win Worlds? I think if you're asking me, are they a true Worlds contender even after getting, blown out by Damwon Gaming? I still think yes. I think you can't look too much into one game, especially when you give Damwon pretty much all of their ace picks and just make it as comfortable as humanly possible for them to roll you. They're not, they're too good. They're not the imposter. If they got voted out right now, I would rage quit. If like the rest of the lobby was just like, oh, let's kick them out. They're the imposter. Let's kick them out. They got destroyed by Damwon. It was the biggest blow of the day. I would rage and probably ban everyone in that lobby and I'd never talk to them. So JD Gaming, very, very worrying start. You never want to go into a big match like that in your home country against what could be a finals and just get laughed out of the building. But it's a long road. We have to remember, FPX lost to J-Team in their first game. They got toppled in their first game. They looked very shoddy. And you know what happened? They turned it around. They got first in their group, and they won the world championship. So your first impression isn't always your last impression. So I'm okay with JD Gaming. A bit more worried about my finals pick between Damwon and JD Gaming now, but I still think they're in an okay spot. They should still get out. The Rogue versus JD Gaming game now, though, gets a lot more interesting. Seeing how Rogue killed PSG and how Damwon killed JD Gaming, there's a lot more intrigue in that JD Gaming versus Rogue match.
I think we should ask this question after. We should ask this question after that Rogue versus JD Gaming matchup. I think then we will have a more clear sense on whether or not, or at least a better answer, because yeah, I agree. After day one, I don't think that JD Gaming should have even been on this list. FlyQuest, however, should be on this list. Let's talk about them.
No, very similar to the Unicorns of Love, where I still want to see more. It's no, are they favored to get out of the group? No. DRX should be heavily favored to get out of the group now after seeing them play, especially with how Piosik performed. But we saw the good thing about FlyQuest is that they're a good team fighting team, and if they can get out of the laning phase, if Solo can survive top lane, which I think Doran, while a good player, I don't think he necessarily should run over Solo like 369 did, or should Boss from Unicorns of Love. So let's give it time on FlyQuest. I want to see how they do against Unicorns of Love. If they lose to Unicorns of Love, then we can start kicking them out, because if that you're going down 0-2 and you have DRX still and you're not looking like you're in your best shape, then we can start talking about kicking you out 0-2. Maybe there's no chance of eating out, but 0-1, lost to the tournament favorite, had a few good moments, had blundered plays, but I don't. The only team right now that I'm 100% sure canceling from the bubble and saying there's no chance of them getting out is PSG. They're the imposter of this round. If I had to eliminate a team a day, they're the first team eliminated. I just don't see a way of how this team in this meta, where they're much slower paced team with River and Tankin, how they survive against these quick, faster.
So with that in mind, now we get to the segment we like to call Tyler's NA Optimism. We do this every show. If you're seeing it for the first time, this is where we ask Tyler a very simple question based on everything that has happened on the Rift, off the Rift, everything surrounding Worlds. What is Tyler's optimism surrounding NA's chances at the 2020 League of Legends World Championship? Not a great day. FlyQuest lost, TSM lost, TL has yet to play. But we have to ask the question, whether good or bad. You were very, 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 very high throughout the play-ins. Rightfully so. But now, Tyler, after day one of groups, where does your NA optimism land?
So a 10 for me is one team getting to quarterfinals. That's my optimistic level. That's my happiness level. That's what I want to see. That is like my peak happiness. How anything after that would be gravy. Anything after that would be sunshine and rainbows. 10, I was on a 10 coming into the groups. I felt good. I felt this was the best possible for NA to advance at least one team forward. But after seeing FlyQuest and kind of the issues I thought could hamper them kind of show up instantly, and TSM losing a game that they could have won versus a team that they might have to beat to make it to the quarterfinals, it's down to a 7, and I don't like it. It doesn't make me happy, but it's a 7. I still have TL left. TL plays Machi tomorrow. If TL loses to Machi, we might be going down to a 2. If TL loses to Machi and Gen.G beats TSM, you might have me on the floor tomorrow. I might be doing the show on the floor crying in the fetal position tomorrow. And the scary thing is, that's very possible. So right now I'm a 7. I'm still trying to think of happy thoughts of Tactical and Core JJ, of how they're destroying the Chinese super server, how good they look, about how many people are telling me how good they are. Jensen, who is, regularly one of the better mid laners at Worlds, who consistently gets top 8 at Worlds, top 4 at Worlds. Brock's a world finalist, Impact a world champion. Like, I'm trying to put my happiness in the Team Liquid play of how, great they looked in the play-ins. But Unicorns of Love got destroyed today. PSG Talon got destroyed today. LGD Gaming didn't get destroyed, but they didn't look that great today. So, play-in success. hasn't moved over to the group stage, and the meta hasn't either. So I'm just trying to think happy thoughts. It's a 7. Tomorrow, I might be crying. This graph might have me careening into the dirt. We might have to make another graph where I'm just going below Earth's gravity into the molten core. So good thoughts. I'm just thinking happy thoughts. TL, Tactical, Core JJ, Double Lift versus Gen G. Nothing can go wrong there.
No.
Nothing can go wrong there. I'm so excited, Arda. I'm so excited. We're going to do this every step of the way till the 31st of October, where the World Finals are going to happen. NA team's surely going to be there. Hoo boy.
I mean, in the audience, perhaps. That graph looks very depressing. Yeah.
Oh, you had to get me right. I can't.
No. We're keeping the NA optimism high here, okay? I'm with you. I said I would be on the bandwagon with you. I am joining you on the bandwagon. I will note that graph is starting to look depressing. Just starting.
Oh. Well, if T Liquid loses to Machi and Gen G beats TSM, as I said, tomorrow is going to be like Disneyland, but the opposite of Disney. It's going to be like Knott's Berry. Sadness all over.
What do you have against Knott's Berry Farm?
Bad memories of the child, Arda. Bad memories of the child.
All right, I'll leave that alone.
Got left on a ride, Arda. Got left on a ride.
Oh man. Okay. We don't need to get. Okay, let's change the subject here. You're with us now, which is all good vibes. Tomorrow's headlines. We also like to talk about what we think will be big news tomorrow. Tyler, what is your headline from a big news item you predict for tomorrow's Worlds Group Stage play?
Damwon's Dominion, because you know what? I came in saying Damwon's going to win Worlds, and after watching them decimate JD Gaming, I just feel so confident in my selection of Damwon winning Worlds. They are everything I've ever wanted to see in a team. They are they're the Invictus Gaming of 2018. If 2018 Invictus actually had chemistry and everyone on the team could speak coherently together. If you didn't know, the IG team of 2018, the Shy had the rookie translated for the Shy, who speaks mostly Korean and a bit of Mandarin, where this Damwon team plays with the same brutality, the same confidence, the same swagger, the same just kind of vicious savagery in these games, but they have the communication and the teamwork to actually put it all together, where that IG team had all the talent and all the individual skill, but not the cohesion. This is one of the first real heavy-hitting brutality teams that are on the same page and can individually beat you and also team fight and beat you as a 5v5 stack. So it doesn't matter if it's 1v1, a skirmish, 3v2, 4v2, or a 5v5 full-on team fight. This team can beat you in every single way, and they do it with a right heavy hand, and they just keep on punching you. It doesn't matter if you're dead, they're going to keep on going. This team is looking to be one of the they are a team where if they continue this pace and they can keep up this pace of beating JDD, one of the best teams at Worlds in this kind of fashion, we could look at them as one of the greatest teams of all time. They've already surpassed LCK lore by being one of the best domestic teams of all time. This is a chance for them to really put themselves in the history book. So tomorrow, it's a tougher game for them. It's they're playing, I believe, Rogue, which is a step in a different direction. Where Rogue obviously had a really good first day, but sorry, Rogue, I love you guys, but Damwon is the real deal, and they are scary. The Green Machine is coming for you, and they have no break.
So my headline is Stomps Stopped, and this is more a request. I'm putting my thoughts out into the universe in hopes that tomorrow is not a day full of one-sided affairs. That's what I would love to see. And I think the possibility does exist here. You have G2 versus Suning, which can be a very competitive contest on many days. You have Gen G versus TSM. Fingers crossed that is competitive, right? Fingers crossed that is competitive. LGD and Fnatic. Fnatic can step up. LGD has shown cracks in the armor, particularly through play-ins. So hopefully that remains competitive. Rogue and Damwon, like you said, maybe Rogue, based on their first victory today, maybe that momentum is a wave that they can bring towards Damwon. The only one I don't want to be competitive is Liquid and Machi. Let's just go Team Liquid on that and stomp. But otherwise, there are some matchups here that I really hope are nice back and forth affairs and we get some really exciting gameplay as opposed to clearly one-sided contests.
Hallelujah, Arda. You could not speak more of the truth.
Before we wrap things up here, Tyler, do you have any final thoughts on day one of group play?
I just want NA to win a group game. It's October 3rd, and North America is still winless in the World's Group.
It pains me that is now It's funny when you mentioned Ashley Kong earlier. Like Ashley has now said the LC, like she's taken over your NA meme. Like she's taken it over on Twitter. Like it's October 3rd and the LCK is undefeated at Worlds. And now we're stuck here being like, oh, can we just get a win? Can we just get one win, people?
We're here till the 31st, Arda. Every step of the way as you see one man go from top of the world to hating life.
Can't wait to join you on that journey, buddy. Like Tyler said, we are here every step of the way. We will be here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern for Wake Up Worlds, the next episode. After day 2 of groups, don't forget to follow along as well at espn.com/esports for all of our written content, as well as our VODs. Lots of interviews there to catch up on. Emily Rand has been very busy this morning doing a ton of interviews that you can find on our YouTube channel that you're watching us here on right now as well, /ESPN Esports. But that's it for us. We will catch you tomorrow.
Please win, Liquid. Please win. Just one of you win. Someone win, please. Oh, man.
Please.